Welcome back. Today we are doing a calculator problem and we're finishing this short series that we started yesterday. At a large distance r from a radio antenna, the intensity of the radio signal I is related to the power of the signal P by the formula above. Question 23 asks, for the same signal emitted by a radio antenna, observer A measures its intensity to be 16 times the intensity measured by observer B. The distance of observer A from the radio antenna is what fraction of the distance of The distance of observer A from the radio antenna is what fraction of the distance of observer B from the radio antenna? Go ahead and pause the video, come up with your answer, and then press play. So we're looking at the same signal, but observer A has an intensity 16 times observer B, which means the distance would be shorter for observer A than for observer B. But by how much? Okay, so here is the equation or the formula we'll be working with. What we know is that the intensity for observer A is equal to 16 times the intensity for observer B. For observer A, the intensity is equal to this formula, P over 4 pi, and then R, the distance for observer A, squared. And for observer B, the intensity is equal to P over 4 pi R, the distance for observer B, squared. Okay, now I'm going to do some substitution. For observer A, I'll put in this formula, P over 4 pi R sub A squared equals 16 times, and for observer B, I'll put in P over 4 pi R sub B squared. Okay, so we want to find out how the distances relate for observer A and observer B. Okay, so what I can do to simplify this is divide both sides by P over 4 pi. And I've canceled all that out. So what I have left is 1 over R sub A squared equals 16 times 1 over R sub B squared, or 16 over R sub B squared. Okay, now I will cross multiply, so I get R sub B squared equals 16 times R sub A squared. Now if I take the square root of both sides, I get R sub B equals 4 R sub A. But I want to know R sub A is what fraction of R sub B. So I'll divide both sides by 4, and I get R sub A is 1/4 of R sub B. So for number 23, I am choosing option A.